Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the United States. That's now midday if you're in Australia because of daylight saving, or 1 a.m. I believe if you're in the UK. I hope you guys think as well. Good morning Hellforge, it's good to see you. Remember guys, if you do want to join the Phil Does 3D Discord server, click that link. Hellforge has just popped into Twitch chat. That'll give you an invite to join the Phil Does 3D Discord. The other link there is for the game that I'm working on today. You can click that link to wishlist the game on Steam. We're actually going to be working on the sitting room for that game. So that's what we've moved from the attic. Now we're in the sitting room. Remember too though, if you do miss the live streams, you can catch up at any time by clicking on the videos section of my Twitch channel. Good morning to you Hellforgers. What, coffee time? Yes, it is coffee time. It's actually really hot here in Australia today, so I might be hitting a water bottle as well. Good day to you too, Android Lust. It's good to see you. Hope you had a good weekend. And for all my American viewers, you have a new president of the United States. That's exciting. An overwhelming number of people went out to vote for both sides of politics, so that was good to hear as well. All you Americans going out and voting, because it's really important. So there you go. Hellford says, since you can sit in the kitchen, does that mean it's kitchen time? No. Well, actually, I've been considering doing the kitchen before we do the basement. I'm sort of thinking about that this morning. Android Love says, I thought it's always hot in Australia. Well, it is compared to you guys in Europe and in the US, but winters are nice in Australia. Summers, not so nice. Not unless you really like the hot weather. I guess if you like the hot weather, then summer in Australia is for you. Hot as Hades, Smurfberry says, that's right. It's good to see you, buddy. How are you? Hellwood says, just put the kitchen in the basement and win big. But then we're going to have a room with nothing in it. We have a room off the dining room, which is where the kitchen's going. So yes, new president of the United States. Well done, guys. My commiserations if you voted the other way for Mr. Trump. Although Mr. Trump is not going quietly. He still wants to stay there, so we'll see what happens, I guess. Okay, as usual, guys, if you do have any questions while I work, feel free to pop into chat and ask me. If you want to pop in and say hello or just have a chat, then that's always welcome because, you know, Phil's a real windbag and likes to chat anyway. But if all you want to do is watch, that's completely fine. Helpboard says, I personally prefer winter and cold, so do I. Since there's a lot more ways to warm up instead of cooling down. That's exactly right. You read my mind, and I've said that before. It's easier to get warm, it's harder to get cool. At least that's what I find. Android Lust says, seems like the US election is pretty big for everyone. Look, it's been constant on the news channels here. It's been constantly played. They're talking about it all the time. All the way down here in Australia. So that goes to show you just how many people around the world are paying attention to what goes on in the US. So, yeah, I think we're all a bit worried too because, you know, half your population voted one way, half your population voted the other way. And that causes the possibility for a bit of friction. So we're all keeping our fingers crossed for you guys. Hellwood says, you're pretty cool though, Phil. That's right. I'm always cool, aren't I, guys? I'm always cool. No, I'm not. All right. So, yes, we are going to continue working on assets for the sitting room. Now, I'm going to be reusing a few assets for the sitting room that we used in the dining room. Or am I? Actually, I don't know if I am. I was going to say I might reuse the floor. The only reason I started to reuse assets was simply because we were starting to run into a memory issue with graphics cards. A VRAM issue. Like the more assets, the more textures, the more memory the game takes up when it runs. And because we have to limit that to 8 gigabytes, because the minimum spec for the game is like the recommended is an 8 gigabyte video card. You can run it on less, but you'd have to knock down the texture resolution, which you can do through the main menu. So we were starting to knock up against that 8 gig VRAM limit. Not that we were using 8 gig in textures completely, because other things run in the background, blueprints, lots of things are taking up memory, so it wasn't just textures, but that was the reason I decided to start reusing stuff. But the guys and I this last week have been going through and doing level streaming. So what we've basically done is we break the level up into little different sections inside of the Unreal Engine. We put those into their own level, and then as the player runs through the game, they actually trigger loading and unloading of different parts of the game. And doing that allows us to free up memory, as well as increase performance. So, Android Lust says a large portion of our population that will always vote for their party regardless of who the candidate is. Yep, pretty much the same in this country as well. Sarah, hello Sarah, it's good to see you. How are you? I hope you had a good weekend. And hello Sarah. Hellforge says, hey Sarah, remember that, again, thank you to Hellforge. Those 2 links he's popped into chat. One is for the Build Us 3D Discord, which if you aren't a member, you should join, because there's a gallery section and I love looking at the work that you guys do. I show it off on stream, but if you don't want me to, when you post an image in the gallery, just say don't show it on stream and I won't. There's always also a section there for your demo reels and stuff, so you can put links to your ArtStation and all that sort of jazz on the Discord. And that other link is to wishlist this game you see me working on right now. Well, I will be working on in a minute. Alfred says, wait, it was the weekend. It was the weekend. Sarah says, I'm great, thanks. How is everyone? Well, I'm doing really well, Sarah, except that it's really hot here in Australia at the moment, today, at least. But I'm good otherwise. And I'm glad to hear that you're good too. Okay, so if I jump into Max, we're going to start working on, these are going to be so I was saying, we broke the level up into streaming sections, which has helped to free up a lot of the memory and also helped to increase performance, which is a win-win. Which means that I can start to not worry about so much creating new assets and new textures. I'm still going to keep it in mind because, I mean, you don't want to use stuff if you don't have to. So I was going to reuse the floor from the study in the sitting room. Now, I still may do that just to keep a bit of consistency between the 2 rooms. It still might be a good idea to do that. I'll think about it when we start actually putting the room together, though. But we're going to need other assets, and that's what we're working on now. And these are actually going to be wall panels. So in the study, we have those like Gothic wooden panels. And in the sitting room, I want to place these sort of panels, which have, I don't know what you call it, fabric centerpiece. Now, again, these are photogrammetry assets, this asset. This is not something I created. This is from Quixel. But I don't particularly like the pattern, so we're going to be changing it up. So basically what we're going to be doing today is we're going to take photogrammetry assets and we're going to change the texture a little bit. Mainly just the fabric panels. I don't like the look. I don't like them. I don't like the color. So we'll change that out. Helpwood says, oh my god, I'm so lost. I've been having such a weird sleeping schedule the past few weeks. I'm legit having trouble keeping track of the day. Look, I'm like that too. You guys know we were in lockdown here for the last 3 months in Melbourne. We're out of lockdown now. No new cases of the human malware, which is good. But it was getting a bit like that for me as well. I mean, I work from home anyway, and I always have, even before the current malware. But particularly now when you're in lockdown, it's really hard to keep track of what day it is. If it wasn't for that little calendar down in the corner of Windows, I would never know. Android Dot says, pretty great, no major problems here. Good to hear. Hellforge says, just rotate the textures 45 degrees on every new asset so no one can tell it's the exact same. Well, look, I mentioned when I've been working on other stuff on the stream. A good example was what did we call it? The wasn't the Gothic Folly? What was it? Wasn't the Arcane Rotunda? It was the God, I can't remember what I called the damn model. What what did I call it? Look, excuse me, I've got to work out what exactly I call this model. It's on the creative market, so I'll go there and it'll tell me. The very first thing we worked on when I started streaming wasn't the Temple of the Winds. It was this one. It was a Baroque Terrace. When we worked on this, we did a similar thing. We took, here, if I go to this one, we can probably see what I mean. I can explain it a little bit better. These little columns, basically we textured up, I think, 3 of them, and then we just rotated them around to face different directions so that people didn't notice that they were just the same texture being used over and over and over again. I can't believe I forgot the name of the model. Andrew Doth, Helpwood says, may or may not work depending on the wood grain. He's talking about rotating the texture. I don't actually think it would work on this because if we look at the texture, again, this is a photogrammetry asset from Quixel, not one that I've made. But if I do an unwrap, if I go actually into the materials, that's what I want. And we look at this texture that the asset is using, you can see that we couldn't rotate this because it's specific to different bits of the model. If it was just like a normal textured up object inside a Substance Painter, we might be able to get away with that, but for this one, not so much. Sniper Echo, good morning. It's good to see you, buddy. I'm sorry, I just caught your name there in chat. I hope you're well. It goes really well for me, yep, except that it's warm and I'm bitching about it as usual. Android Lust says no complaints from me. Alford says I'm doing alright overall, apart from being somewhat sleep deprived. Almost done with the project, so it feels pretty good. Just got to double check the materials and set it up in Unreal. It does feel good when you finish a project, and actually it was we got a real buzz out of actually getting this level streaming done for the game, because the performance increase was about 35 to 40%, which is sweet performance increase just by doing some level streaming. It can be difficult to work with level streaming, particularly if you've broken your level up into many different subsections, because triggering when they load and unload can be a bit of a confusing thing to try and work out. Sniper says that was a while back, Phil. What was? Oh yes, that Baroque Terrace. Yes, that was one of the first. I think when I first started streaming, that was the first thing I streamed creating, was that Baroque Terrace. I'm pretty sure that was the very first thing I started streaming on Twitch. What, over 3 years ago now. Sniper says to Hellforge, hey mate, how you doing? Smurf says nonsense, you can rotate that just fine. You can't rotate it. If you rotate the texture, the UVs are going to be messed up. Android Lust says to Hellforge, a little extra sleep may be more important than finishing. Look, I found that when I get stuck on a problem, and I've been like trying to work it out for hours and hours and hours, if I have a nap or the next morning after I'm fresh from waking up, I usually can solve the problem. If I sit there and force myself to try and work on something, to fix something, I can be stuck for hours and hours. So sometimes having a nap is a good idea. At least that's what I find. Sniper says, yeah, that was the first thing you streamed. Yep, it was. Hellforge says to Sniper, I'm doing all right. Android Lust says, wait, Bill does 3D. You said how much performance? Yeah, 35 to 40% performance increase. So by introducing level streaming in the Unreal Engine, it'll really depend on the game you're making. But we found in our case between a 35 and 40% performance improvement. So there you go. Sniper says, back before you drank all the time. That's right, back before I drank all the time and used to stream drunk. I've never streamed drunk in my life. You guys know I don't drink, except on specific occasions. Sniper says, Phil, do you have any weird stuttering when loading and unloading levels? Not that I've noticed, but we are testing on an SSD, so maybe once we start testing on a hard drive. And again, what's going to cause stuttering with streaming is how big the level is you're loading in at that time. Like, there's a couple of ways to do level streaming. You can either do a what they call a load and an unload, which basically removes the assets from memory, or you can do a hide and unhide, which basically keeps everything in memory but just hides it from the viewport. The hide version should not cause stuttering, but generally when you're using level streaming, you want to do an unload and a load because that frees up the memory on the graphics card and the computer. So you get more bang for your buck doing a load and unload, but that can cause a stutter if there's a lot of assets that are being loaded in. I believe though that the engine tries to be smart about it in that it loads things closest to the camera full stream first and gradually loads other stuff after that. So yeah, I haven't noticed it. Again, it's right. We're doing testing running from an SSD though, so. Healthboard says, only drunken shenanigans I've done was a 25-person raid in World of Warcraft as Orc tank smashed out of my mind. Oh man, you guys. Okay, so with this asset, we have a couple of ways we could do this. I could, of course, take this into Photoshop and I could just replace these bits here with whatever I want. That's an option. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to take it into Substance Painter because I do have a really nice substance material that I think would look really cool. So we'll try and do it in Substance Painter. Smurf says, oh, hang on. Sorry, Smurfberry. Smurfberry says, what's the point of redeemable channel pointer? Phil doesn't see it. Okay, I just saw it. Hydrate. Okay, I will hydrate. Are you happy now, Smurfberry? Sorry, so many things I've got to pay attention to here. I've got OBS and music going over here. I've got my main computer screen here with Max and Substance. I've got the 2 chat clients with Discord. I've got the requests. Too much going on. Nice cold water. There we go. Are you happy, Smurfberry? I can mark you as done. Alford says, I might have wiped the raid once or twice. Android. Alford says, bragging rights. Alford says, I have a really nice substance. I have a really nice substance. Phil 2020. Don't let the fuzz hear you say that though. Okay. Sniper says, Phil, are you leveraging virtual texturing at all in the game? No. We initially we did a trial run with virtual texturing on part of the game, and we found it lacking. It's too slow. We saw things popping in and popping out, so we removed it. So basically, no, there is no virtual texturing being used. I don't think it's really ready for prime time. I think they need to do a bit more work on it, or maybe they're just waiting for faster hardware. I don't know. But no, we're not using it. We did trial it, but we removed it. Smurf says, I'm never happy. Alford says, need more barbecue and alcohol. I heard that's the key to happiness. Either that, or I spent too much time around Southerners. Sniper says, I would be interested in hearing some more about that. What would you like to hear about? More about the virtual texturing? I don't know what I can really tell you. We trialed it. We didn't like it. We removed it. It was what we found with virtual texturing. No, we're not talking about runtime virtual texturing here, which is another form of virtual texturing. We didn't do runtime. We did normal virtual texturing, or virtual texture streaming, I should say. And yeah, we found that as we moved through the level, you got texture, like the texture would load in really slow. It was loading too slow. So it would load the texture in slowly and then gradually. And sometimes you'd move, like, you know how normally with texture lotting, you know, the further away you go, the lower the resolution of the texture is because you're further away from the object. So you don't need to see the texture resolution really high. And as you get closer, the texture on the object gets higher and higher and higher resolution. We found with the virtual texturing is even if you get right up to the model, it didn't always load in the higher res version of the texture. or if it did, it took it a good 20 seconds to happen. So we decided that we weren't going to use it because it just was not performing the way it should, for our game anyway. Android Lust says this is a sudden thing, which I held forward. Sniper says interesting, and that's on an, oh no, that wasn't on an SSD. That was actually, when we trialed the virtual texturing, that was on a hard drive. We had the game running from a hard drive. We haven't actually tested it on an SSD, but we really don't need to now because level streaming has allowed us to reduce our VRAM footprint quite a bit. So there's no need for virtual texturing really. It's a lot more complicated to work with though, level streaming, because yeah, you really got to work out when things load up and unload, and getting all of that balanced is a bit of a no, well, I was going to say a nightmare. It's not a nightmare. It's just you really got to think about it. So we won't be reintroducing virtual texturing for the game. It's not necessary, and we can't always guarantee that somebody's going to play the game on an SSD anyway. So we don't want to introduce virtual texturing and then have someone install the game on a hard drive and then have this horrible pop-in happening, this late pop-in happening. So yeah, 20 seconds. It did. Sometimes it just didn't load up at all. Like we could stand right in front of the object that had the low resolution texture on it, virtual texture, and it just would not pop up to the high res version, period. It was very hit and miss. It just seemed a little bit buggy to me, virtual texturing in the Unreal Engine. Again, this was on a version of the Unreal Engine way back when they first introduced virtual texturing, so maybe they've improved it since, but we don't use it, so I don't know. That's basically, with the new Unreal Engine 5, that's the way they're going to be doing it. They're going to be streaming in the mesh and streaming in the texture. That's how they can say that they're going to have unlimited polygons and unlimited draw calls, because most of it's going to be pulled in and out on the fly. And that's, you know, what do they call it? Microsoft's new Direct.io, I think they're calling it. It's part of the DirectX thingy. It's all to do with that. So basically it streams stuff on the fly as you move through the game world, which is basically what level streaming is doing. But level streaming is a clunky way to do it. In this new Unreal Engine 5, they've obviously worked out a way to do it automatically without you having to manually set this sort of stuff up. Helpwood says, for someone who have no idea about anything, what is this streaming thing you're talking about? It's basically a way for you can set up your game so that you can break it up into all these different little sections. So I'll give you an example with the game we're working on for this game studio. We have the Art Nouveau building, we have the landscape that the building sits in, and then inside the building we have all these different rooms. You've seen me working on the attic, I've worked on the bedroom, you've seen me working on the study, we're working on the sitting room. So basically what we've done is we've broken up the building into its own sub-level, the landscape into its own sub-level, and then inside the building we've broken up the different rooms into their own sub-levels as well. So when you first start the level that has the building in it, the only thing that's really being loaded up is the landscape. When you get within a certain distance of the building, then the building is loaded up, and then when you get inside the building, depending on where you are in the building, different rooms are loaded in depending on as you move through the building. And as you move back out, those rooms are unloaded from memory. Also, when you go inside the building, the outside landscape is unloaded. So if you could see the game from a third person, not as you're playing it, you'd see as soon as you walked into the building, the landscape disappears. And as soon as you walk out of the building, as you're out of the building, then the landscape reappears and the interior of the building disappears. So it's a way to load and unload stuff without the player seeing it. And that improves memory, because when you unload the level, it frees up the memory that was being used for those assets for that level. So basically that's what it is. But the trick is getting it to load and unload at the right time in the right spot so that the player doesn't see things disappear. Basically. Android Lost says, even if it was on an SSD, not everyone has an SSD. Well, that's right. We just don't know what people, some games I don't. I have an SSD devoted to just games, but I don't load every game I play on the SSD. Some of them go on the hard drive, depending on what it is and how often I play it. So yeah, we didn't want to rely on somebody having to install on an SSD. We saw how the problems of virtual texture streaming was having on a hard drive, and we decided that it was best just to remove it from the game. So that's what we did. We were only using it as a way to improve memory usage anyway, and with level streaming, that improves it and it gives you a performance increase at the same time. So virtual texturing is unnecessary for us, but it really will depend on the game you're making, the type of game you're making. Sniper says, yeah, it's not necessary, I would think. Android Dot says, well, Phil just said it. What did I say? What did Phil just say? You got me worried now. Helpwood says, Phil does live in the future, so it makes sense that he answers questions and comments before we ask. That's right, I am coming to you from the future. I don't talk about it because it confuses everyone, but I stream on US time, which is Monday now for you guys, but it's actually Tuesday in Australia, so. Sniper says 20 seconds, that's double what my patience is. Yeah, I couldn't stand it. It just looked awful. Standing in front of an asset that had blurry textures on it until the engine decided to catch up and load them in properly, if it decided to. Because sometimes it just didn't even do it. Android Lost says to Helpwood, I got caught by the delay. Sniper says it does work much better if you can reuse look. Oh, yeah, he's talking about virtual texturing, I'm assuming. I'm sure it does. And again, we used it right when it was first introduced into the engine. So I'm sure Epic have improved it since we trialed it. But we're not going to be using it because we don't need to use it. So now, we do texture lotting, don't get me wrong. We just don't do virtual texture streaming. Smurf says it gets chunkified. It's basically Lego, Sniper says. Sniper says, think of it like grouping models and textures together and loading and unloading them when certain conditions are met. And they're talking about texture streaming. Sniper says, sort of like a more advanced lotting. Yeah, it is, basically. It's more advanced than lotting, though, because when you unload the level, you free up the memory, which increases performance and gives you much more bang for your buck on your video card. So all the games use it. But it's been around for donkey's years, and it's a really good way to increase performance. Coffee, that's right, Hellforge. Hellforge says, it was a perfect call. Many people are saying it, believe me. Android Dust says it was about the SSD. Oh, okay. Sarah says, is it okay to ask? Of course it's okay to ask a question, Sarah. Anyone watching my channel, if you have a question, you ask. Never feel that you can't ask a question, regardless of whether I'm engrossed in what I'm doing on screen. The whole point of me being on Twitch is to actually chat with you guys, really, and to encourage you guys to do 3D. That's why I'm here. So yes, ask away. Helpwood says, yeah, always ask. That's right. That's what they all do, Android Lust says. That's right. Helpwood says that, and roast Phil for not working on the Jade Kitchen. All right, so this asset we can do it in Photoshop, but I think we'll take it into Substance Painter and do it there. So basically, what I want to do is we need to keep the texture because it's a photogrammetry asset, and this texture is important to it. Well, I mean, I don't want to retexture the entire thing. I'm quite happy with the wood. The wood is similar to what we've already got in the building. It's like a cherry wood, so that'll fit in well. It's just this pattern here I don't like on the fabric panels. Sarah says, I'm trying to recreate a game scene in Unreal, and I'm wondering if there's a good way to match lighting conditions in that game. So I'm just trying to work out exactly what your question is. So you want to recreate a game. So basically you've seen a game and you want to remake it in the Unreal Engine, and you're asking if there's a good way to match the lighting conditions in the game. Yeah, Sniper says that can be tough. The Unreal Engine, I'm assuming you're using Unreal? Yes. The Unreal Engine is a great engine as far as lighting goes. It's one of the best I have ever used. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The UE4 engine is amazing when it comes to lighting. And lighting is one of the most important things when it comes to making things look good. Recreating lighting from another engine in Unreal will be challenging, but that would be the best engine to try and do it in. Again, I haven't used Unity or anything like that, so I'm not saying Unity is bad. I'm just saying I've used Unreal, I'm familiar with Unreal, and I know it's very good because I have used other game engines. So, yeah, recreating the lighting, it will be a challenge, and not impossible. You're just going to have to analyze the game you're trying to copy. Sarah says, yeah, recreate, I guess. I'm using Unreal. Yeah. Basically, yeah, you're going to have to take, like, screen grabs of different parts of the level that you're trying to remake. And then from those screen grabs, you should be able to analyze where you think lights were placed and replace them inside of the remake you're doing. Most lighting in a game engine is really just point lights, spotlights. I mean, we have rect lights in Unreal, which are rectangular lights for windows or doorways. So there's not a lot of different lights you have to work with. So it's just basically working out where you think they place their lights and placing lights in the same spot inside your recreation, really. And then just adjusting the fall-off to match and the colour. Elford says, like you take a screenshot in a game and you want to make a render of it with matching lighting from a screenshot to your own scene. Sarah says, I just don't know where to start to recreate the lighting conditions in Unreal. Helpwood says, are we talking full remake? Sarah says, I don't know how to analyze it really. Sarah says to Hellforge, no, just an area of the game. Android Lost says, I would say it depends on the game. Sarah says it's an open world, so no static lighting. Okay. So are we talking interior or exterior though? Android Lost says you're trying to recreate. Sarah says it's a DayZ. It's DayZ. So have you heard about that? Yeah, I know DayZ. Yep. I know it well. It's made by a New Zealand developer, I think, from memory. DayZ. So just next door to Australia. Android Lost says, yeah, the Armour mod one. Exterior, okay. Well, with an exterior, then it's less of it's easier to do with an exterior than an interior, because basically an exterior, all they're really going to be using is sunlight, a directional light, basically, unless they've got, yeah. From what I remember of DayZ, I reckon it's really only a directional light that they're using. Like they might be using some fogging and stuff. I don't know. It shouldn't be that difficult, really. Basically, you know, you take a screenshot of the area of the game you want to recreate. You know, you remake it inside of Unreal using your assets or assets from whatever. You place a directional light and then just play with the intensity of the directional light and the color of the directional light, and you should get a scene that looks similar. It will never look exactly the same because different game engines always look different. I don't know if you've noticed, but while they all look similar, there are differences between each of the engines in how things look. So it will never look exactly the same. But it shouldn't be too hard to recreate because it's really they should only be using a directional light, I would have thought. Sarah says, yeah, that's the one, Android Lost, the Armour mod one. Again, I don't play DayZ, so I'm not really familiar with the Armour mod. Elford says to Sniper Echo, it's all about the armor stuff, so he might have the inside scoop on that one. That's right. Sniper Echo is all about the armor stuff. Sniper says to Sarah, I could talk to you how to set up the lighting config for the DayZ Armour 3 engine, but not sure about specific values to take into UE4. And Sarah says, yeah, it's just about a directional light from what I can figure out. It would only be a directional light. If it's an exterior scene, all the engines tend to work the same way, and they all tend to just use a directional light for the sun. Yeah, it can be different if it's a nighttime scene, exterior nighttime scene, because then they can start placing other lights to sort of highlight areas. But generally during a daytime scene, it's just a directional light. The game we're working on, it's just a directional light. there is a skylight as well, so that's not completely true. But the main lighting comes from the directional light. The skylight is really just more for ambient shadows. So, Sniper says matching the colours would be tough though. They also use LUTs. Well, again, you can use LUTs inside of Unreal. We're using a LUT for the game we're making. So you could probably get a good approximation of any LUT that they might be using inside of Unreal as well. Alford says directional light and maybe a HDRI. Yeah, maybe a HDRI. So the HDRI goes on your skybox, and that does contribute to the lighting. The directional light, of course, is what's going to be the sunlight, and then the skylight will be things for like ambient occlusion. So they're basically the main three for an exterior, and the main one for an exterior will be the directional light. So as far as the look of the game and the colour and the brightness and all that sort of stuff. Sarah says, could you make a HDRI from the game? Would that be a way to get better lighting info? I don't know. I don't know whether you could make a HDRI from the game. You probably could. But you really only want the HDRI to be the sky. So you'd have to try and position some way to just get shots of the sky to try and make a HDRI that way. Yeah, I don't know. Sniper says, perhaps you should unpack the game within their tools and take a look there at their HDRIs. Yeah, again, now I'm just being a bit careful here because I don't know with copyright whether you're allowed to take assets from this mod and use them in your game. Now, if you're only making this game level in UE4 for your own benefit, for your portfolio, you should be fine. But if you plan on releasing it to the general public, you might not be able to if you're ripping assets out of another mod because of copyright. But if that's not an issue and you're only doing it because you want to maybe make it as part of your portfolio, then you can take the HDRI image out of the mod and bring it into Unreal and use it directly, which will give you an identical look. But Sniper Echo's suggestion is probably the best. Load it up inside of the editor that the mod is using and look at the assets. You can probably even look at the values like Sniper suggested for the lighting. They're not going to match one-to-one to Unreal because Unreal does probably things a little bit differently to the Armor engine, but it'll give you a good starting point at least. So you use the tools for the mod to see how they put it together and what they've used, and if they've got any HDRIs, you can maybe pull them out of that mod and import them into Unreal when you're making your level. Sarah says, the Sniper, do they have tools? Sniper says, yeah, they have tools to do that. You don't take content, but you can use it for reference. Well, again, there you go. Again, it's a copyright thing. You don't want to be using other people's assets really, unless you're allowed to. Like, this is not my asset. This is Quixel, but Quixel, well, Epic Games own Quixel, and Epic will let you use them for games that you make in Unreal, which is what we're doing. So, and we're going to change it up a little bit anyway. So, this is textured up. What I've done here is I've separated the panels from the rest of it. Now, initially it comes as one object, so I had to go in and separate these panels up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach the panels back. Just actually, before I attach them back, no, it should be okay. We're going to attach the panels back together again. Actually, before I do that, oh, Phil, make your mind up. We're going to select this. I'm going to choose a vertex color for this, and we're just going to make this red. Well, orange. And then I'm going to select the panels. And we're going to make this color, let's make it a purple, pinky purple. Okay, now we're going to reattach the panels to the rest of the model. And I'm just going to check to make sure that my vertex coloring is still there. and it is. It's difficult to see because it's showing the texture on top of it. But so the panels are purple and the wood is red or orange. You can turn vertex colors off now. So what I need to do is I need to export the model. I'm just going to save this as a revision 1, just in case I mess something up, because you never know. You never know with Phil when he's going to mess up. So R1 for revision 1. We're going to export the model. Into the right folder. Sitting room. Which one is this? This is SR double panel. And export it as an FBX. Because basically what I want to do is I want to reuse the same texture map and reuse the same UV mapping. So thanks for that, Sniper Echo, for Sarah as well, shooting her some links. That's very kind of you. No problem, Sarah. Again, yeah. I mean, I get why you guys want to recreate something you've seen already done, but that's a good, like, again, I keep using this example because it was a really good example. I can't remember the guy's name who popped into my chat, but when he showed us his portfolio, he'd recreated a famous painting, and it was just a painting of a bowl of fruit with some flowers, you know, those sort of paintings. He recreated that in 3D and rendered it out. I thought that was a really good thing to do. It was really an interesting piece to add to his portfolio because it was something not everyone does. Everyone does cars and guns, but very few people really think about what they're creating to put in their portfolio. That's really even more important because, trust me, once you've seen hundreds of portfolios that are full of cars and guns, they all blur together after a while. But if you see something that's really unique and interesting, it could be just a unique and interesting model, design. That tends to stick out in your mind. A good example of that, actually, which I'll show just toward the end of the stream. I know Phil's been doing too much talking and not enough working. But just before the end of the stream, I like to show the work that you guys have done that you posted in the gallery on the Discord server. And I see that Gary's posted an image for a competition, was it? Maybe. But anyway, it's a Viking village and it looks really cool. The building design looks really cool. So that's another good example of making something that's really unique that will stand out in people's minds. They'll remember for your portfolio. Helpwood says try messing down instead. It's a refreshing change. Save and copy. Well, we did the save. I'll have the copy. Sarah says, is asking, Phil, that model you have there, if I wanted to use one texture, a seamless texture, what would be the best way to unwrap it? This model you see here, you want to use one texture, a seamless texture. Well, then you would basically unwrap the front section as basically like a cube map. So you'd unwrap the sides, but they're still stitched here. You'd unwrap the top, but it's still stitched along the top and along the side and along the bottom. This model is actually, it's only a plane basically. So you could unwrap it in a similar way to the way you would unwrap any box, really. So as an example, I'll just do a little box here. We got that. We're going to throw an unwrap on it. Like this. I'll do it the difficult way. Max has Uvw Maps here. Let's look at that. So Uvw Map in Max, we have all of these options. You can do a box map, but they won't be attached. So if I do an unwrap here, you'll see that they're all separated. And that's not going to be good for a seamless texture. So if I move them all, you can see that they're all different pieces. So basically what you want to do is you select one, select an edge, stitch. I keep forgetting this box up here. Always messes me up. You select an edge and stitch. And then the final edge over here. And you see that gives us this like T shape, cross shape. And that's the back. So depending on whether you wanted to see the back, well then you could stitch it here as well. So we have the classic T shape. And that will allow you to tile texture without, and have it follow the actual shape of the of whatever it is you're working on. Sarah says, my idea behind it is to try to match content, textures and lighting of DayZ. Smurf says, I do cars made out of guns. Well, that's unique, Smurfberry, so that would get my attention in a portfolio. A car made out of guns. Helpwood says, but they're doing guns and cars or guns made of cars? Sarah says, so people could see I can achieve the same look and feel. You know, I get why you're doing it, Sarah. I'm not suggesting it's not a good thing to do. I understand. You know, it's a great thing to do for your portfolio, and I gave you the example of this this guy who took a painting and turned it into a 3D model scene that he rendered out. It's a good thing to do. It is. I mean, most times when you first start doing 3D, like maybe you're new to a studio, and so your first jobs are not going to say to you, go help a leather crate, whatever you want. Go for it. They're going to say, here is a concept shot, make it in 3D. This is what we want, make it in 3D. So showing that you can actually do that is a good thing. It is a very good thing. The higher up you get in a studio though, like, you know, you become a senior artist, a lead artist, a creative director, that's when they're going to say to you, we need this, we want you to concept it, and we want you to make it, sort of stuff. But generally when you first start, you're going to be given jobs to do actually a lot of the time when you first start, you're probably not even going to be making stuff. You're going to be cleaning up stuff. It's like busy work. So they'll give you a model and they'll say, we want you to improve the UVs and retexture it, sort of thing, or we want you to do optimization on the model. So things like that. Generally, yeah, it really does depend on the studio. So no, it's a good thing to do. Long story short, Sarah, it's a very good thing to do. Let me catch up with my chat. Android, hang on. Android Sniper says to Health Forge, you make trucks out of guns. Android Lust says to Sarah, to be honest, Unreal's lighting may be better than Armor. I'm pretty sure it probably is. Unreal is the best that I've come across as far as lighting goes. It really is. It's super amazing, awesome. Helpwood said, speaking of which, I should try to make an artillery cannon for that flatbed truck I made a while ago, and I did see the truck. I caught one of your streams when you were working on the truck and you showed it off. It looked really cool. You should make a flatbed gun. Artillery cannon, my apologies. You can tell Phil knows a lot about guns. Sniper says, I was thinking about a small vehicle. Sniper says, Phil, does Max have an unwrap by normal option? Not that I'm aware of, no. I don't think it does. Android Lust says, I was thinking about making a gun concept fully in ZBrush, but shot down again by Phil. Look, guys, if you want to make guns and cars, make guns and cars. 3D is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be about you guys having fun, really. So, you know, if you want to make cars and guns, make cars and guns. If that's what gets you off, then do it. Far be it from me to suggest that you shouldn't do what you like doing. So don't listen to Phil. If you want to make cars and guns, you make cars and guns. Just don't fill your portfolio full of them if you want a job in the industry. That's all I'm saying. Hellforge says you got to stick to your guns, Android Lust. Don't take flack from anyone. Oh, Hellforge. Sniper says, actually, I wonder if Rhizome UV has an option. Rhizome may. Again, we're not going to probably go into Rhizome today because we're not going to be UV mapping, but I would be surprised if Rhizome didn't have some option like that. But Max, that I'm aware of, doesn't. Sarah says, Android Lust, you are most likely right about the lighting in Unreal being better than DayZ. Unreal's lighting is amazing. Now, I know I harp on about it all the time. I'm not sponsored by Epic Games in any way, shape or form, but they do have one of the nicest engines I have ever used, and the lighting is just... As an artist, I love working with their engine because, yeah, it's beautifully put together. They did a really good job with the editor and giving you the tools you need as an artist to actually make something pretty. So, now, unlike Gamebryo, which was the biggest dog I've ever worked with in my life. What a horrible engine. Sarah says, it kind of freaks me out not knowing how to match an existing game or scene. If I understand at least the basics of how to do it, I will feel... No, look, yeah, and it's a good thing to do. It is a good thing to do. I'm not suggesting it's not. By all means, recreate a game you love or you like the look of in another engine. It's a good thing to do. You don't want to rely on doing that for your whole portfolio, though. I mean, do it once or twice, but don't make all your work copies of other stuff. You want a bit of originality in your portfolio. Well, we're just talking portfolios here. If you're just doing it for fun, then have at it. Do what you want when you want. But if you want to get a job in the industry, then while it's okay to have stuff like that, don't have too much of that sort of stuff. Yeah. Andrew Luss says, in my opinion, if the game is older, it's better to have better lighting than to exactly match it. I agree. Well, you guys, you know that this game that we're working on now, that I'm working on with the game studio, I initially designed that Art Nouveau building in UDK, so Unreal Engine version 3. And we actually looked at the difference in the lighting between the old version of the engine and the new version, and it's quite dramatic. So don't be surprised, Sarah, if when you recreate it in Unreal, it doesn't match exactly, because it will look better in Unreal than it maybe did originally. So, yeah, it won't look worse; it'll look better. So, Sarah says, "Yeah, that's true, but it's the not knowing how to match something part that freaks me out." Does that? Yeah, look, it makes sense. It does make sense. Am I being stupid? No, you're not being stupid. And it's a good lesson for you to learn. It will help you, is basically what I'm trying to say. So, doing it is a good thing. And you don't know whether you can do it until you try. So, initially, anything when you're first starting to do it can be overwhelming. But my advice is just break it down into little bits and do little bits at a time. Don't try and tackle it. Don't look at the overall and think, wow, this is so much. Just take a little area of the level and recreate that to begin with, and sort of like break it down into these little sections. And eventually all these little sections will come together into the level you're recreating. So that's how I tackle a big job. I break it down into little jobs. It's less overwhelming that way. Helpwood says, that's not stupid, Sarah. Learning how to match something is a pretty good practice. It is. Sniper says, most of my assets are unwrapped by normal, so I can use seamless textures as much as possible. Sniper Echo says to Sarah, I doubt what my distinguished friend Helpwood just said. Sarah says, yeah, it's more, can I do it if I was asked where to start when doing that? It's a good lesson to learn how to put something together. It's a good thing to do. It is a good thing to do. And it will be good for your portfolio as well. Helpwood says, not sure how I'm distinguished, but thanks. Not sure how I'm distinguished, but thanks. Sniper says to Helpwood, Lord of Rivets, enough said. Sniper says, say Philip, will I be seeing this game in VR? No, you will not be. I'm sorry to disappoint you guys and girls, but the game will not be playable in VR. It's just too detailed, and it would just not run properly in VR. VR games have to be designed in a specific way, and we made the choice when we started working on the game that we wanted it to be a next generation looking game. So it has, you know, high resolution textures, it has high resolution models, it has lots of particle effects, all the things that would just cause VR to will bring VR to its knees. So because VR has to run twice for each eye, like an image for each eye. So basically you're running the game twice, and that is the reason the VR games perhaps don't look always quite as pretty as otherwise. I mean, not always. I think Valve, but that Project Alex or whatever they called it, the Half-Life continuation on VR, that looks pretty good. From the screenshots I've seen, again, I haven't played it or anything, but it's a much bigger challenge to get things to run in VR and look pretty. Until hardware gets more powerful still, so no VR for this game. It would be cool to play in VR though, I have to admit, it would be cool. Alford says you cannot delete messages from moderators, Sniper Echo, god damn it, Twitch. No, you can't. Sniper says I'm the worst for feature creep in a project. Yeah, feature creep is a real problem. If you don't sort of lock things down and say, no, you can't do that. It'll take too long. We have a deadline. No. Because otherwise you'll be there forever. You know, Smurper is bad for that too with this game. He wants me to put ghosts and things in. No. Feature creep, no. Android Lost says small progress beats no progress. That's very true, Android Lost. I couldn't have said it better myself. Sniper says to Sarah, actually, if I remember correctly, the real virtuality engine that Arma and Daisy is built on uses a diffuse workflow, not PBR, until recently, so that will throw your lighting comparison. Or PBR materials do make quite a difference to a model and an engine, the look of a model. So, and again, I'm not familiar with this engine, this real virtuality engine. I've not used it before. That they're using in Arma and Daisy. Sniper says PBR support was only added maybe 2 years ago, if I remember right. Android Dust says the Sniper, that's what I was thinking. I just couldn't remember if it was. Hellboy says ghosts of all things. Yes, Murph wants ghosts. Sarah says diffuse, so that would mean textures will already have lighting information stored in them already. Hambone, it's good to see you, Hambone. Why again does Daisy have the look it has? I've always wondered how it had that look. How it had the look it had? You've always liked it? I've missed you too, Hambone. How have you been? You've been keeping well? You're staying happy, healthy and safe, I'm hoping, in this malware world we're living in. But it's good to see you, Hambone. Yeah, and again, I can't answer your question about whether they bake the diffuse information in or not because I've not used the engine. They may. It's a performance optimization generally. So basically, if you bake the lighting information into the texture, then there's less work for the game engine to have to worry about when you're actually running through the game. So yeah, we've attached this together, we've exported it. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring it into Substance Painter. Only an hour into the stream and Phil actually starts to do some work. Because Phil's just a chatterbox. Let's select the... once we get one done, it should be quicker to get through the rest. Let's load up the model. It was the double panel, I believe. I believe the textures are 2K, so we'll go 2K. We're going to compute tangent space. Again, not my model. This is a model from Quixel. But we're going to... It's a photogrammetry model, but we're going to just make a couple of changes. Okay. We're going to start by baking out the maps. We want the ID map to be vertex color. See, Phil's not hungover today, so he remembered. We'll set it at 2K. And we'll use the low poly mesh as the high. And we'll bake. Okay, I'm just going to rename this. What was it called? I'm going to rename it to whatever the model name was. So we'll rename it that SR double panel. Hambone says that would mean that though no day-night cycle, correct? Yes, it would, since the lighting can't change really unless it does not change as much. They could basically bake in the ambient occlusion. That probably might not change too much. I mean, you really shouldn't. If you're doing a day-night cycle, you shouldn't be baking your lighting. And if they are baking it, then they won't, yeah. Generally, you don't use baking on day-night cycle stuff. I mean, you could get around it, but it wouldn't be good. Sniper says it would be an interesting study actually, figuring out as much about the DayZ texturing and lighting setup. Hambone says I would love to know that creepy, smooth, almost slightly blurred look. Android Lust says you can all make me want to re-download Armistery. Hambone says muted colours. DayZ is better armour. Sniper says unless it's in our eyes, the Hambone. Hambone says well then my eyes are amazing. Sniper says yeah, they have a full day-night cycle. Android Lost says I thought you have to have both installed to play the mod, not talking about the standalone DayZ. Sniper says DayZ does, he's talking about the day-night cycle. Halford says yeah, classic shadows on objects during night scene with night vision goggles. Yeah, so I was going to say that they, you know, you could do it. It's not a good way to do it. If you're doing a day-night cycle, you really shouldn't be baking your lighting into the model texture. That's the whole point of being dynamic. Dynamic lighting means the shadows change, so you don't generally want to bake them in on a dynamic level. Okay, so we've baked out the map. What we need to do now is we need to add, if I can remember correctly, because it's been a while since Phil has done this sort of thing in Substance Painter. I think we need to add a fill layer. Yes, we do. And then I want to come into my textures and I want to import the textures that are already created. Now, why are they not showing up? Just let me check that. They're not showing up because I didn't put them in the folder. Let's just fix that up first. So I'm just going to copy the color map, the roughness map, and the normal map. The normal map. Hang on. What I'm going to do here is copy, because I'm actually in Max's dialog box here. Phil's confusing himself, so we're going to copy that into here. And we're going to copy the roughness map. And copy the diffuse map. Here I was thinking I was all nice and organized for the stream this morning, and I actually forgot to actually copy the textures over. So now we're going to add resources, and we're going to bring in the color map, the normal map, and the roughness map. Normal roughness. I'm just going to put these in the textures. The current session. And we're going to pull in the base color. We're going to pull in the normal map and the roughness map. So now we have a model in here. All good so far. Hambone says, not to distract you too much, but how would one go about pre-baking ambient occlusion? It's been a while since I've done that because everything's dynamic now. And ambient occlusion, like we've been working with ray tracing, so it's all ray traced ambient occlusion. When I used to do it, how did I do it? You can use programs like Nulled. Yeah, probably can't see it behind me, but KNALD, that'll bake the lighting information down for you if you want. So basically you'd use a third-party tool, or you could, the easiest way to use a program like Nulled. You could possibly do it in your 3D program. So I think I used to do it with V-Ray. Again, I'm just trying to remember how. Yeah, I think you can do it in the 3D program as well. Because in the 3D program, if you're using like V-Ray or Arnold, you should be able to separate the different... Is it going to help? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like doing a render to texture. So in Max, you could do like a render to texture. And you could choose the channel that had the ambient occlusion in to save that out as a separate map, or you could include it as part of the diffuse map. If you can't include it as part of the diffuse map, then you can load them both up in, say, Photoshop and overlay them using a multiplier, usually for shadows. So yeah, you could do it through a render to texture, or you could do it through a program like Nulled. I guess that'd be the easiest way. I wouldn't recommend you guys bake shadows into textures anymore, though. That's not the way you should be doing it. Unless that's a specific reason you want that. Do it dynamically. Don't bake them in. Hambone says, I'm working on a small thing and curious as to how I might go about that. Yeah, I'd look at doing a render to texture inside your 3D program to try and bake down the ambient occlusion. See, ambient occlusion's a funny thing, really, though, to try and bake in, because it's based really on the environment and the light source. I know I have done it in V-Ray. I think I did it through render to texture, though, from memory, but it's been a long time because generally you don't bake down that stuff anymore. Yes, I did say we need to add a fill layer, Smurfberry. We have fill lights and fill layers. The classic fill layer Android does, that's right. Sniper says, small things he says, the Hambone Z perhaps? Elfwood says, don't forget that copy for that productivity boost. Good idea. Sniper says, I think you can do it in Substance. Yeah, I actually think you can do it in Substance. You might be right. Again, I haven't done it myself, but I think you can add a channel for ambient occlusion, perhaps. Yeah, you can add an ambient occlusion channel in Substance Painter. So that was a good suggestion, Sniper Echo. So you could do it that way. You could bake it out in Substance Painter as well. But again, unless there's a real reason you need to do that, I probably wouldn't do it. Hambone says, no worries, that might be enough. Yeah, but Sniper's suggestion was very good. You can do it in Substance Painter. But you should be able to do it in your 3D program if you don't have Substance Painter, by doing a render to texture. Sniper says you can do it in Blender, I know that much. Sniper says you can also do it in Unreal. Android Lust says, I've never used ambient occlusion maps on anything. Yeah, I have, but not for a very long time. because everything is dynamic these days, so you don't generally bake that stuff down. Hambone says, I'll try screen-spaced ambient occlusion, which is very good, the classic way, and see how it goes first. Yeah, I'd try screen-spaced ambient occlusion as well. That's the preferred way to do it, really. That's the way you should be doing it. Where the game that we're working on, we're using ray-traced ambient occlusion. But if you don't have ray-traced capable graphics card to play the game on, then it will revert to screen-spaced ambient occlusion. Because it is very good now. Never used to be, maybe when they first introduced it, but it's gotten better over the years. No problem, Hambone. Sniper says, Phil, when you export the asset from Painter, you can select an option that bakes it in, if I remember. You probably are right there, Sniper. Again, I don't bake that sort of stuff down, though, so I don't really look at that. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a way when you do the export to actually bake it down. And you can certainly add a channel, an ambient occlusion channel, if that's what you want. Because there are different templates when you do an export for textures from Substance Painter. I'm sure one of them includes the ambient occlusion. Again, remember, thank you, Hellforge. If you want to join the Phil Does 3D Discord, click that link. Pop any images you're working on in the gallery if you want, and we'll show them on the stream. And if you want to wishlist a game you see me working on the assets for here, click that link to take you to the Steam store page where you can wishlist there. Wishlisting the game just means that when it's released, Steam will tell you, basically. I'm sure you guys know how Steam works. Hambone says, nice. Android Lost says, to Sniper, you're right, you can. And Sniper says, if it's one thing I know, it's workflow options. So anyway, we've brought in the normal map, the roughness map, and the color map. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into our materials. And I have a substance here that I think will look really cool. I'm just going to find it. Basically what I want to do is I want to swap out that horrible yellow fabric panel. I'm going to get people bitching to me on when I upload my stuff to YouTube. I've had a couple of people comment saying, you talk too much. Just get to the work. You talk way too much. Well, what can I say to you people? I'm sorry. You know, there is a little bar at the bottom of YouTube where if I'm crapping on, just fast forward the bar. Easy peasy. You can shut Phil up immediately. There it is. So we have this really interesting looking fabric texture here. So I'm going to pull that in. We're going to mask with color selection to our purple. And we're going to change the scale. Now, I'm going to remove the hide information because we don't need it there. And I'm going to change the colors as well. So instead of a red, let's go to a blue. Nice deep blue. Oh wow, Sniper Echo says, what is Steam? Healthboard says, yeah, you boil water which turns from a liquid to a vapor. That's exactly right, that's what Steam is. We'll pay no attention to this. This again, because this is a photogrammetry object, it's very hard to get a completely flat surface. You won't notice it in the engine. It stands out a bit more inside of Painter, but if I sort of angle it more, you won't notice it. So we're not going to pay any attention to that. We're really only concerned with the look of the paneling. And I think what I want to do here is I want to rotate this 90 degrees as well. Android Doll says, speaking of Steam, is there a reason you all chose to not use the Epic Games Store for the game, besides Smurfberry hating it? Oh, look, we'd love to release it on the Epic Games Store as well. We were initially intending to, but Epic Games, it's not like you can just decide to do it. Like Epic Games don't. It's not like Steam where you can say, I want to release my game on Steam. At least not at the moment. With the Epic Games Marketplace store, they need to actually approve it. So regardless of what we want to do, unless Epic says, yes, we'll have it on our store, you can't have it on their store. So at this stage, we're not going to be releasing on the Epic Games Store because they've not made any inclination that they want us to. So just Steam at the moment. But you never know what will happen once the game is released on Steam. You know what Epic are like. So Epic, if you're listening and you want the game to be released on your store, contact me. Not hard to find me. Either do it through Twitch or do it through the official website at thehouseonthehollow.com. That's the only reason Andrew does that. Helpwood says, you could say, shut up noobs, this is my stream and I do what I want, but that might not be on brand. No, I don't. No. That's fine. They can fast forward me. They're really annoyed with me chatting forever, then they can just fast forward the video. Or watch me in double or quadruple speed. You know how you can change the speed on YouTube when you play back? Sarah says, you guys are right. That's the fun part. Sniper says, hang on, no Epic Store? I will have to get a Steam account or something. Yes, you will. At least unless Epic Games contact us to say that they want to have it on the store, you will need to purchase it through Steam. That's my website, Helpwood. Just if you want to know more about me, you can go to phildoes3d.com. Not another account, Sniper says, I'm afraid so. If you want to buy the game, you're going to have to buy it through Steam. Android Lost says, didn't know Epic, but yeah, they are. It's not, yeah, they are like that. If you guys at Epic ever do watch my stream and you hear me, we would love to, the game studio, we would love to release on your platform, but you have to make it easy for us. We have actually applied to release on Epic, but we've not heard a word from Epic Games, so I can't say anything more than that because I don't know anything more than that. So yes, if you want to wishlist it, go to that link, Steam link that Helpwood just popped into Twitch chat. So yeah, I want to change this to a blue. What I want to do here now is I'm going to duplicate the layer. There we go, duplicate layer. We're going to put both of these in its own group. I'm going to call this fabric panel. We're going to make sure we mask that panel group with the color selection. And I'm going to change the color of the one on top here. I'm just going to move in a bit closer. I think what I'll do is I'll make this one just a little darker on the blue, just a little darker on the gold. Okay, so we've got two versions now. We've got the light version and the dark version. The dark version is going to be like our dirtier version. So we're going to go into our smart masks and we're going to find our and tested surface worn. And throw that down. If I get into a position here where it might be a bit easier to see, it's difficult because of the light, but I think, again, I'm just trying to get an angle here where we can see what's going on. We'll go into our mask. So you can, hopefully you can see that on stream. You see the color changing? It's subtle, but it's there. I'm going to pull that mask in a bit. We're going to pull up on the contrast. Maybe pull back a little bit on the curvature. World space is not doing much for us, and position is not doing much for us. So that's basically just giving it like a dirt layer over the top. What else can we do here? What else can I do? I think what I might do is I might duplicate this layer again, the darker layer. I want to remove that mask copy we just made though. And this one I'm going to make even darker. I could have chosen actually a different, I wonder if that would have been better, a different material altogether. So I'm adding one that's really, really dark. And for this one, we're going to use another smart mask. Sniper says, I still haven't got my house into Second Life. Scammed out of my Bitcoin. That's right. All that Bitcoin in Second Life. No one talks about Bitcoin anymore. I told you guys it was a scam. But Sniper Echo didn't listen to me. He's got all his money tied up in Bitcoin and Second Life. Android Lost says, Phil, you have a better chance of NVIDIA sending you a 3090 for free than for them to reply to that email. You are correct. Yeah, come on Epic, get your act together. This is one of the reasons why I don't sell on the Epic Marketplace like my own models, because they make you jump through so many hoops to get your stuff on there to begin with. It's just not worth it, to be honest with you. So Epic, if you are listening, come on. Come on. Don't make things so difficult. Hellford says, considering Phil won an NVIDIA award, I'm surprised they haven't sent him a card already. No, they did not send me a card. But I do have a 3090 anyway. But it was not, which I purchased. It was not sent to me. Hellford says, maybe add another fill layer with a bright green colour so that you can see which bits are affected by the mask. Andrew Dust says, that's a reminder for me to sit up straight as well. Oops, I'm not, okay. Monkeys, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Phil Does 3D. My apologies for not seeing a bit sooner that you'd sit up straight request. I will do that. Yeah, welcome to Phil Does 3D. Monkeys. Remember, if you do want to join the Discord server, to do that, because there's a gallery where you can show off your work if you want. Because don't post links in my Twitch chat unless you're a sub to my channel, but everyone can post links in Discord. And thank you for reminding me, Android Lust, to pay attention to my request. Sarah, thank you for the follow, Sarah. I do appreciate it. So welcome again to Phil Does 3D, and thank you for the follow. And the same goes for you. If you do want to join the Discord server and show off your work, the Discord is a really good place to ask questions as well. If you you know, if you're stuck doing something in 3D or whatever it is you're doing, then jump on the Discord and ask a question. If I don't reply to you, then one of the guys and girls that are members will. They're all very talented and they all know a lot of stuff. We all help each other out. So another good reason to join the Discord server is if you need any help at any stage. Don't be frightened. We're all very friendly and very helpful. Join the Discord. Helpwood says, at this point I'm basically sitting like a pretzel. Yeah, I must remember to sit up straight. There we go. I have even my lumbar cushion thingy here to make sure I sit up straight. So there. Thanks, Helpwood. Yeah, just if you do want to join the Discord, click the link Helpwood just popped into Twitch chat. Monkeys, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly as well. My apologies if I'm mangling your username. We're looking for another smart mask here. Let's try the dust soft edges. Yeah. I don't think this is going to do what I want it to do. So we'll remove that one, we'll find another one. Let's try the dirt soft edges. And again, it's a curvature, it's probably not going to do what I want it to do. No, that's not going to work for me either. Okay, let's try the dust occlusion. I don't know that this one's going to do it either. No, that's not going to work for me. I'll keep going. Let's try fabric edge damage. It's one of the good things about Substance Painter of these smart masks. I mean, they really are helpful. I mean, I have said before, you guys know I like to use Mari by the Foundry to do texturing. Because I like to get in there with my pen and you know, go to town. But these smart masks are a good way to get stuff done really quickly. The only problem is everyone's work tends to look the same because they all use the same smart mask. This is still not really doing what I want it to do. We're adding another dirt layer, which is what I want. But I think what I might have to do is I may have to go in by hand anyway. So I'm just going to pull in on the model a bit. Mouse is... There we go. Alright. We're going to add... What am I going to add? I'm going to add a might add a mask. No, it won't let me add a mask. Now, do I want a white or a black mask? I always get them the wrong way around. I want I believe a black mask. No, I got it the wrong way around. Let's try a white mask. No, that's not, actually, that one will work. So I'm going to remove the center. I could have gone the other way and removed the edge, but it's easier for me to remove the middle than the edge. So what I'm doing with this mask is just darkening up the corners, because, you know, the what am I trying to say here? Yeah, the dirt sort of builds up in corners, so I'm adding just a dark mask around the edge. What I'm going to do in a minute, once I've done the other one, is I'm just going to pull back a little bit because it's just a little bit too dark at the moment. Digitalis, hey Digitalis, thank you for the host, I do appreciate it. I hope you're well, hope you're happy, healthy and safe, like I said, in this malware world we're living in. It's good to see you, Digitalis. I got it, monkeys, good. Halford says, Phil, do you have a drawing tablet for Substance? I use a Wacom tablet, which I do use in Substance. Yeah. So yes, no, I do have a Wacom tablet here that I use. Which I don't always use though. Sometimes the mouse is just as good. So again, I'm just going around removing the middle. Moving a little bit on the edges. We have to try and avoid making this too unique looking because we want to reuse this asset all around the wall. So I have to sort of be careful that I don't texture it up so it looks too unique, because otherwise people will notice that we're reusing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, which is not what we want. I think what I might do here is I'm going to go in and change my brush. I'm going to change it to this dirt, just so I can not make that divide look quite so even, that line that we've got there, just to blend it in a little bit more. Same on this side. Okay. So I'm just darkening up the edges, the corners. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull back on the mix a little bit. So I'm just going to pull it in a little bit. So around 90%. And now I'm just deciding whether the colour, if I want to bring up the colour of the gold or not. If we go through, that's sort of showing you the mask I just painted in. Just going to do a quick save here just in case, because you never know. SR double panel. SR double panel. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. And let's pull that right up to the top of the stack. And I'm just going to play with the mixing modes here, because you never know what effect you're going to get by playing with the mixing. You can sometimes get some really interesting looking effects happening. I think what I might do is I'm going to change it to tint, and I'm going to add a white mask or a black mask. Which one's again? I think it's a white mask. Or is it a black mask? White mask. And we're going to go back to our brush and make it bigger. So now what I'm doing here is let me do a little bit, and then you can probably get a better idea of what's going on. So I basically added a layer at the top, which is lighter, because I want to bring up some of the gold a little bit more. I just felt that it was looking a little bit too bland. So now what I'm doing though is I'm going to come through and remove some of the gold in different spots to bring back some of the dirt. So just bringing up the gold pattern a little bit more. Hopefully you guys can see that on the stream. And I'm also just gonna pull back the mix a little bit. Take it to about 80%. Digitalis says, sorry, it's taken me so long. Digitalis says, dropping by here before I go to bed. Helpwood says, maybe my workflow is a corner since it's always quick and dirty. Digitalis says, working on a drone. Oh, cool. Also started applying for jobs. Cool. Android Lost says, Digitalis, what software did you say you use for modeling? Digitalis says, Moe 3D. Which I'm not familiar with actually. Helpwood says, and coffee. Yes, coffee is always a good idea. Helpwood says, I haven't had a clue what's going on for the past few years, but I'm also notoriously slow on the uptake. Join the club, me too. Halfwood says, Charlotte, good luck with the job hunt. Yes, and I see, who was it in the Twitch chat? Sorry, not in the Twitch chat, on the Discord. Was it Morak? That's got a job with, yeah, got a job with the Chaos Group, which is sweet. So congrats, Morak. I know you're probably not in chat, but yeah, congratulations on that. That's really, really cool. Well done. So yeah, if you do join the Discord, don't think I won't see anything you post, because I have Discord open at the same time as I have my Twitch chat open. So now with this asset, we could tart up the outside as well, but there's really no need. And if I do, then it's going to make it look more unique. And again, we have to reuse this around the room. So we really have to try and avoid making things look too unique. I'm just going to go in and look at this layer here. I might just pull back a little on this layer too. I think that the dirt was just a little bit too strong. Maybe we'll pull it up a little bit more than that. Yeah, maybe like that. Because again, I've got to try and avoid showing repetition so people don't notice we're repeating the same thing again and again. I think I like this colour better than the original. That yellow was horrible. I think this will suit the room better. A blue. It'll pick up the light nicely as well inside the room, because it does have a sheen to it. So that's all good. So what we can do here is I can now we put all of those in its own group, so we can turn that fabric panel now into a smart material. So anything to do with anything I create, I always like to put my in the front of it, MY, so I know it's one that I've made. And now we can just create smart material. And there it is there. So we can do a save. We're doing a re-export because it's going to re-export with the new updated normal map and roughness map as well. So let's export textures. Make sure we put them in the right folder. SR double panel. And export. We will resave. How are we going for time? Okay. Let's jump back into Max. Let's load up the new texture map here now. We're only using the color map, so it's not going to look completely correct, but it'll give us an idea at least. We want to make sure we go to the right folder. And you see Substance has saved out our new texture maps. These were the old ones. So we're just going to load up the color map. And that's better. I like the blue much better. Okay, let's load up the next piece, because we have a few different pieces for this wall paneling. We have an inner corner, which is this one here. Again, I've separated these up, so I'm going to attach these two together. And we're going to make that purple color again, and we're going to make this one a red, And now we're going to attach them together. We're going to save this as a revision 2. Sorry, as a revision 1 I mean. And we're going to export it into this folder here. I bet you I didn't copy the texture maps over as well. We'll check that in a minute. Now let's have a look. Bet you I didn't. No, I didn't. Okay, so we want to copy the diffuse into this one. And the normal map. And the roughness map. Okay. Helpwood says, Phil, what's your take on doing mega scans? Only models for portfolio pieces? If you set up your own scene, materials and light. Mega scans, mega scans, mega scans. Really? So you're talking about using Quixel stuff? Yeah, well that's what it's for. They make them so you can use them to set up your own environments and scenes. So, no, I think that's fine. Again, don't just rely on mega scan stuff though. You want to show that you can make other sort of things yourself without using somebody else's assets. So I think it's a good thing and a fine thing to do, to use their assets to make a scene for your portfolio. I think that's a good thing because the scene is unique to you, so even though the assets might not be. But don't fill your portfolio full of that sort of thing, because you want to show people that want to employ you that you can make stuff on your own. You know what I mean? And texture stuff on your own. I mean, that's what they're employing you for. They're not employing you to download models and use them to make a scene. They want to know you can make a scene on your own with your own models. But no, it's okay. But yeah. Not too much of that sort of stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not doing a very good job of it. Quixel, yeah. Sorry, I got thrown mega scans. It's Quixel mega scans, but I just call it Quixel. Yeah, no, look, it's fine again, but yeah, just not a lot of that sort of stuff in your portfolio though, because yeah, you want to show that you can make stuff. Okay, so we've saved that vertex colored it. We're going to export the model into the inner corner. And it did not copy the name, so let me just do this again. File. Export selected. Why do I already have an inner corner? Well, oh, maybe that... Why do I already have an inner corner? I don't know. I might better make it a version 2, because I'm not sure what that one is. Just in case it's important. Bill gets confused because he works on so many different things at so many different at the same time. We'll export that as version 2. You got to head off, Sniper Echo? No problem. Thanks for being here and popping in and saying hello. It was good to see you. You're quite welcome. Helpwood says, all right, I was just curious about it since I've seen a bunch of Megascans portfolio pieces. Yeah, look, it's okay. From my point of view, I prefer to make everything myself since the portfolio is to show off what you can do. So it doesn't make sense to fill it with other people's work. Look, it can be good to take Megascans and make a scene, an environment using them. That's a good thing to do. And it's okay for one of your portfolio pieces. One. But generally you want to show them that you can make stuff on your own, not use other people's stuff. So, but it's okay for one piece. It's okay. You know, one piece, one environment that you've used their assets for. Like one image for your portfolio piece. That's what I'm trying to say. Andrew does says, good seeing you. It was good to see you, Sniper Echo. You have a good one too. So now that we've exported that, let's jump back into Substance Painter. Let's make sure that we saved our file and let's create a new project. Load up the corner piece we were just working on, which is version 2 here. Again, I will do 2K because that's what the original texture resolution is. And again, let's bake out our maps at 2K with the vertex color. And let's rename the material to the same as the model name. We need to add a fill layer. And we want to import the textures in a corner. So we want that one, and that one. We're setting them as textures. And we're just going to import it to the current session. So we want the color, the normal, and the roughness. Okay, now we should be able to jump into our smart materials. We're going to have to make some changes because we use color selection, but we're going to find that my one. What was it? Fabric? Did I call it my fabric? I can't remember. My fabric panel. There we go. Let's pull that in. Now we need to change some things here. Color selection. To the purple. And we need to go through and do that for any that we've done a color selection on. Like here. And also here. We also need to go through and make some adjustments to the masks. The edge mask basically, which is which one is it? I should have renamed these properly. Bad fill. Bad fill. Healthboard says, I love seeing how fast everything bakes. Whenever I hit bake in Painter with 2K textures, I can go AFK and make a cuppa. And it might be done by the time I get back to the computer. Substance Painter uses your GPU though, so it shouldn't take too long. Healthboard says, I don't even dare to do 4 or 8K since that'll probably set fire to my computer. Paz! Hey Paz, it's good to see you. How are you? I hope you've been well. It's always good to see you, Paz. Android Lost says, last time I tried 8K, which was a while ago, it crashed. But that was when it still said 8K experimental. Android Lost says, hey. Smurfberry says, ooh, baking in Painter. Yes, we all know how much you hate baking in Painter, Smurf. Halford says 8K is always experimental. Well, and to be fair, you generally don't need to bake out 8K maps. Really. If you're making a game, you're generally not going to be using an 8K texture. You'll use a 4K texture, but not an 8K texture. Now. I've got to try and work out what's going on here. Well, first things first, we need to rotate these textures 90 degrees. So, because they're facing in the wrong direction compared to the other one, so we want to go back to a 0 on this. And we want to go back to a 0 on this. And this. And this. That's better. This one is the one I want to change. So I'm going to clear the mask. And we're going to paint it out again. So I'm going to go back into my brushes. We'll use the dirt brush. Helpful just Smurfberry, where do you bake, Smurf? Android just says, don't you use Marmoset, Smurf? Smurf says, yes, Marmoset. He actually says Marmoset Master Race. So there you go. Smurfberry is a Marmoset fan. And Marmoset is very good. What I'm doing here is I'm taking out a lot of the dirt here. And just leaving a little bit of dirt around the edges. Maybe some in the middle here and there, but mainly just around the edges. And that's the second piece textured up. It's just that quick once we made a smart material, we can reuse it over and over and over and over again. Let's save as and put this in the corner column. I'm also just going to quickly export the textures. Vehicle projects, models, sitting room, in a corner, export, save. We're going to jump back into Max so I can check it by swapping out just the color map with the updated version, which will be this one here. And that's better. Let's do a save. Paz says, everything is fine, thanks dude. Andrew Lust, Hellforge. Smurfberry says, the only thing I bake in Painter is the directional color gradient map. Paz says, fine and not fine. Oh, that's not good. Hellforge says, isn't Marmoset that thing you spread on toast as well? Hellforge says, or am I thinking about something else? Android Lust says marmalade, Hellforge. Smurfberry says marmalade or marmite. Oh, marmite's disgusting, yuck. Ew, gross. Marmalade's yummy, but marmite, ew. Yeah, that Hellforge says, Android Lust says, might have spelled that wrong. Hellforge says, I get them confused sometimes. Android Lust says, never had marmalade. Marmalade's yummy. Smurfberry says, marmalade tool bag. Hellforge says, same thing with Gucci. And that pasta thing that also start with G. Android Lust says, wait, I just googled it. I have had marmalade. Yeah, I'm sure I would have been surprised if you hadn't had marmalade. Paz says this mod. I want to look at some work that you guys posted in the gallery. It's actually, I want to look at the Android Lust posted an animation, so we're going to show that off first. And he just says, I made a little animation for a Discord challenge. The theme was paper. So let's have a look. Again, if you guys don't want to wait for me, because I always show your work at the end of the stream, but if you're curious about what you guys are posting in the gallery, then you jump on the Discord server and can check it out without waiting for me. So a Discord challenge with a theme called paper. That's really cool, actually, Andrew Lust. It's really cool. I like it. So it starts where it ends. Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool indeed. Nicely animated actually too. I also want to show now Gary posted an image called Legends of Valhalla Art Challenge. It's the house in Valhalla using UE4. So this was for an art challenge. Again, lovely work. I really, this is what I was talking about before with your portfolio pieces. You see how that's a really interesting looking model, like it's stylized, but it's an interesting looking design, basically. It's a memorable looking building. He's done a beautiful job of actually putting the environment together. I remember his work because a few months ago he posted some other work as well, so I recognize his art style. He always goes for this painterly look for his texturing. And again, this is inside of Unreal Engine. He's done a beautiful job. Like I said, the model is really interesting. He's done nice texturing work. Oh, gnocchi. You're talking about gnocchi pasta. Okay. Andrew Dust says to Helpwood. Helpwood says, yeah, that one. Helpwood says, not sure why I can't recall which is which. Andrew Lust says, sorry for the low resolution. I wasn't going to render in 4K. It'd still be rendering. No, that's fine. We got the idea. It looks really cool. I like the way it repeats the start to end. That's very cool too. Andrew Lust says, I really like this one. Helpwood says, really cool stuff. Smurf says, antlers from Majestic Moose. Yeah, but you see the design of the building is really memorable. It's very interesting. He's even got grass here growing on the roof. Beautiful modelling work, really nice painterly looking texturing work. It looks great. I love it. He's done this for an art challenge. I think the other image he did was for an art challenge as well. It looks Gary seemed to do a lot of art challenge stuff, which is cool. It's a good way to get exposure actually doing those art challenge things. And he's done a beautiful job. Like he did last time, he showed one of his works. So thanks for letting me show it on stream, Gary, and Android Lust, your work as well. Remember, if you do want me to show off your work, to join the Phil Does 3D Discord server and jump on the gallery. I think we might leave it there though for today, guys and girls. We will pick up with this tomorrow. We've got a couple of other bits and pieces to do for the walls. Once we've done those, we'll probably knock those off tomorrow. Or I've got like 3 other pieces I think I need to texture up, but now we're using the same smart material. You can see I can get those done in like 10 minutes. And then we're going to move on to a couple of other assets for the sitting room that are already textured up that I just want to pimp up a little bit, make them look a bit prettier. So we'll probably do that tomorrow. And then I guess next week we'll probably start actually putting the sitting room together inside of Unreal, I guess. Anivia, thanks for saying thanks. Yeah, I do want to thank you guys though for being here, for hanging out and watching. I do appreciate it. Letting me show your work on stream as well. I appreciate that. I'll be back tomorrow, of course, at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the United States. That's midday in Australia, or 1 a.m. if you're in the UK. You guys and girls have a great day, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow. See you guys.